What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and today I've got another comic review for you, and I'm going to be talking about the Rise of Kylo Ren issue number 2, written by Charles Soule. Today is January 8th. It just came out this morning. It was supposed to come out on January 15th, but they pushed the release up a week for some reason. But I have already done a review for issue number 1, and I'll put a link to it up here in the cards, so you can go watch that if you want to. There are going to be slight spoilers for the first issue that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and read the first issue and then come back and you can listen to my thoughts on issue number 2. So this one takes place right after we left off with issue number 1. Ben Solo is sort of on the run. Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy is in ruins. Lots of the students have been killed, and Luke Skywalker himself is presumed to be dead. And like I said, in the last issue, issue number 1, Ben Solo sort of interacted with a few of the students that survived, and they blamed him for what all happened. And he sort of fled, and he fled to Snoke, and that's sort of where the issue ended. And we pick up with him, with Ben Solo's and Snoke's conversation. And something that was mentioned in the last issue was what Snoke looked like. I don't know if Ben Solo had ever seen Snoke in person before, but he made sort of a comment about what Luke Skywalker had done to him, had done to Snoke, sort of hinting out that he was disfigured, and maybe Luke had done that. So I'm curious to see if we get more backstory on Snoke. I know it's been mentioned before, not in this comic series, but maybe in a book or something, that Luke Skywalker and Snoke did at least know each other. I don't know if they ever met before, but it sort of, Ben Solo sort of implied that maybe Luke Skywalker had done something to disfigure Snoke. He's up here. He's got like the scars and stuff on his face. So it's sort of implied that Luke Skywalker has maybe done something to Snoke. But like I said, Ben Solo is talking with Snoke, and Snoke is slowly, sort of twisting him. You can tell there's a flashback scene later on. Snoke and Ben Solo have been talking for a long time. But now Ben Solo sort of had the last straw with what happened between him and Luke in the last issue. And if you've seen The Last Jedi, the movie, you know the scene as well. But Snoke sort of gets his talons into Ben Solo and starts to twist him even more to the dark side. Something that was interesting was Ben Solo says that he hates his name. He's named Ben after Obi-Wan Kenobi, who went by Ben. And he said that, that's a Jedi that everyone expects him to live up to. And he never even met Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, he's sort of, it's this pressure on his shoulders, these expectations that he's supposed to live up to this great man that he was named after. And then his last name, Solo, he says that, that isn't even his dad's last name, Han Solo, that he just made that up, that it was a lie. So he doesn't even like his own name. He hates his own name is what he says. And he's looking for what his true name should be. And Snoke mentions something along the lines of, or Ben mentioned something along the lines of he thinks he knows what he wants to be called, that he has thought this since he was a child. And Snoke sort of plays up on that children, they're innocent and they don't have any conceptions of anything as far as how people should think of them or anything, so he should go with that name. But Snoke sort of leads him to start hunting out the Knights of Ren to go seek them out, and they might help Ben's quest to achieve the dark side, to further his learning into the dark side. And then we get a flashback years before. We can tell that Ben Solo is a lot younger, and it's Ben Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Lor Santeca. They're sort of going on this Indiana Jones type quest to this long lost Jedi temple. And this is sort of a side note that doesn't have anything really to do with the comic. But some of the rumors for the new Star Wars movies that are supposed to be coming out in 2022 They've been rumored that it will take place during what's called the High Republic era, which is set like 400 years or so before the prequel movies. And as far as I know, that's the first time anything's ever been titled as the High Republic era. But Lor Santega does mention it in this comic. He mentions the High Republic era. So maybe if those rumors are true, they've already started to sow those seeds to what that era might look like and what might happen there. But that's a side thing. But they go into this temple and they encounter the Knights of Ren, like it shows here on the cover art. I love the cover art. The cover art's really cool. But there's this encounter with the Knights of Ren that we met in the previous issue, and their leader, he calls himself Ren. And there's this sort of fight between them and Luke Skywalker, and we finally get to see, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker using some of his powers, his full potential that we didn't necessarily get to see in the newer movies. And it's all defensive things, like he was taught by Yoda. And he's never on the attack. He's never on the offensive. He's deflecting. He's doing defense. He's pushing people away, but he's never actually attacking or harming anybody, which I thought was really cool. And it just shows how powerful he really is. And the encounter between him and the Knights of Ren, I really enjoyed that. Getting to see Luke show off some of his powers and what he's learned and how he's grown since we last saw him in Return of the Jedi. But there's a flashback scene, and then it cuts to the present day again with Ben Solo on his hunt for the Knights of Ren. And it leaves off on a cliffhanger with him encountering some other people who I'm assuming he's maybe going to fight in the next issue number 3. But that's all I really want to say about it. I don't want to give too many other spoilers away. I rated this a 4.5 out of 5, but for Goodreads and Amazon, it'll be rounded up to 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's cool to see more of the backstory, more of the fall of Ben Solo into Kylo Ren that we know he eventually falls to. Just sort of the manipulation by Snoke and this encounter with the Knights of Ren in his past. And it seems like he's hunting them again in the present, which I'm assuming it's a couple of years before we see him in The Force Awakens. I'm not really sure what the timeline is, but it can't be more than 2 or 3 years maybe. But it's all really interesting, and I'm curious to see what issues 3 and 4 hold. We actually see the complete fall of Ben Solo into Kylo Ren, how we know him as, and how he becomes the leader of the Knights of Ren. It's all been really interesting since we didn't get a lot of that backstory in the movies. Like I said, this was 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm really excited to see what issue 3 and 4 have. But that's all I want to say about it. So if you have read issues 1 or 2, I'd like to hear your thoughts about them down in the comment section. If you liked them, didn't like them, whatever it may be. But again, my name is Brad. Thanks for spending your time with me today, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.